the bride of the cursed lake. Chapter 5, Feathers in the Wind. Part 1. At dawn, I sat in the stillness of our cottage, my shadow the only company. It stretched across the floorboards like a body strung up by the neck. The white feather was in my hand again. I held it so tightly I thought it might break, or that I might. Instead, it seemed to pulse with life, like something trapped beneath the surface of the world, waiting to be found. I wanted to drop it, to let it die, but I couldn't. It was the only thing I had left. It was everything. I felt it calling to me, a silent scream, a language I couldn't unhear. I had to follow. It was there the night before, clinging to my hand like guilt that wouldn't let go. And it was here again this morning, as if placed by some unseen hand, as if drawn back to me from the farthest corners of the earth. It felt alive beneath my fingers, restless, insistent. I could almost swear it moved, pulsing faintly like something breathing just beneath the surface. It accused me without a sound, whispered that I had failed her, that I would always fail, but I wouldn't believe it. I couldn't. I watched it flutter as though it knew I was watching, taunting me with its rhythm. Each breath I took fed the ache growing inside me, a dark certainty I couldn't untangle. I felt Anna in that feather, her soul, her absence, her hands reaching from the other side of nothing. I clenched it tighter, felt the sharp quill bite into my palm, felt the panic rise, heard it whisper her name like a song meant only for me. The air in the room was heavy, weighted like grief. A sense of vertigo pulled at me. My vision blurred, swayed, reeled. There was no wind, not yet, but I sensed it in my bones, the shift, the change, the unbearable beckoning. I couldn't stay. The feather I had to follow. The lake I had to know. I left the shadow of the cottage behind, slipped into the morning light, my mind and feet driven by the same impulse. The village lay silent as a grave, barely awake yet to notice my passing. Cobblestones glistened like teeth. Mist unfurled itself at my feet, a careful suffocation. A shroud to remind me I was alone. Each step away from the cottage pulled something out of me. Breath, memory, faith. There was a sudden horror in knowing the sun would rise again without her, that everything would continue, everything but us. The feather drew me onward, an invisible thread, an unraveling that couldn't be stopped. I wound my way toward the water, the cold breath of the lake like the sigh of something, just remembering how to mourn. The path twisted as if alive, as if changing direction the moment I turned my back. Trees rose up like bars, fencing me in, watching me from the tangled edges of the world. The air thickened, turned inside out. My steps echoed an unending loop, the sound of footsteps behind me, the sound of footsteps ahead. Closer, closer. I felt her everywhere. Anna, her face in the water, in the clouds, in the salt of my tears. Anna, her name in my blood, in the wind, in the call of the feather that pulled me forward. I reached the shoreline, the gray waters as still and empty as ever. There, the feather whispered. Here, the feather wept. I watched the path I couldn't see, the destination I didn't know. The world grew silent. My heart stopped. And then it came, a breath of wind lifting the feather from my palm. It danced ahead of me, graceful as a swan, carried by a force I couldn't fight. I watched it drift, watched it cross the broken surface of the lake, watched it fall to the water like a promise I couldn't keep. The mist swirled up from the deep, each curl a hand, a finger, a bone-white thread to lead me home. I moved into its embrace, felt it wrap itself around my soul, felt it twist reality into something I almost dared to understand. Through that veiled curtain, I saw her, Anna. The sight was a knife in my heart, a breathless agony. I stumbled toward her, half sane with hope. Her back was to me, the white dress she wore the day she vanished, rippling like water. She scattered crumbs across the surface, and though no birds came to feed, her movements were steady, intent, serene. Anna. My voice cracked with its own desperation, shattering the morning. She didn't turn, didn't pause, didn't seem to hear. Her stillness was unbearable, like the calm before a storm. I took another step, called again, but the silence swallowed me whole. The lake twisted the mist around itself, each spin more intricate, more dreamlike. My breath was shards of ice. The feather floated beyond the reach of my soul, and the ache in my chest threatened to split me open. She was still there. She had to be. I couldn't let her go. Not again. I rushed forward, blind with terror and love. The fog parted at my feet. She was just ahead. I would reach her. This time I would reach her. But the world shifted, reassembled, devoured itself. She was gone. Only the water remained. Its cold breath mocking me, its silent laughter ringing in my ears. Ripples spread like madness from the place she'd been, and the mirror-dark lake watched as I collapsed to my knees. It wasn't a vision. It couldn't be. It was too real, too raw. The pulse of that damn feather beat inside my skull, daring me to doubt, daring me to believe. I thrust my hand into the water, felt it freeze me to the bone. My reflection stared back like a ghost, like something already gone. Anna, I cried, the echo of my own voice the only answer. Anna. I waited there, at the edge of sanity and loss. The world was emptier than it had ever been, the mist fading, taking her with it, leaving me to the bleak certainty that she was gone. But it was a lie. It had to be. I would stay until the sun dissolved in the sky, until the stars burned out, until time forgot to count us. She would come back to me. I knew it as well as I knew the cold bite of the lake, the rawness in my throat, the sound of a single white feather beating in the hollow space where my heart had once been.